Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge here with another piece of gameplay video of Hybrid Lucian. Hybrid Lucian is what I like to call it. So this was the finals of the Summoner Skirmish I won against Midrange Draven. I want to get more footage against Midrange Draven because like there are parts of this that aren't as clean as I'd like it to be. A bit of variance occurring. But we'll get into that. Our opponent takes first. They go for the Overzealous Fan, and we go for Lucian, turn one. So we led with Candlelit. They led with Reaver's Row. Reaver's Row is really annoying for us because it detracts our ability to just chip away at their board, which I really don't care for. They go for a standard board of swing in the Overzealous and then develop the Draven back in base. Unfortunately, yeah, we missed the Piercing Light here. We have the two reds, but we don't have the Piercing Light. We have the Challenge, but Challenge doesn't quite work as well as we want it to. I do think this is a misplay here. So I have a Kaisa in hand at this point. And I think the correct line here would have been to move the Lucian into the Reaver's Row. Either push out the Overzealous Fan, or make it use its effect, and then we just go in with Kaisa, draw a card, and get the Reaver's Row. We'll let the Draven draw when they swing into the Reaver's Row, but either result ends up in us being like us being in a better position going into this next turn. So here we see the Draven go into the Candlelit, and then our opponent's going to pay 6 to put a Ferris Forerunner on the Reaver's Row. Very annoying, and then it's going to spend another power to hide one underneath the Reaver's Row. And this is a very annoying board state for us to deal with instantly. Still don't have the Piercing Light to like quickly clean this up. But we do have a way to like pretty decisively clean up this board. It's just going to take me a moment to figure out the math on the line. But yeah, I think it would have overall been better to either force the Overzealous out or get a double conquer. Either one would have been better overall for us. We could have also just led with the Accelerate Kaisa, push that into Reaver's Row, force out the Overzealous Fan effect, and then still get the Conquer right. But it is what it is. So we're going to push Kaisa into where Draven was with Doran's Blade, so it's 7 to the potential 6 on the Draven. They're going to flip up Tide Turner, flip it over to the other side. We're going to win that combat for free. And I do believe we have, yeah, it's going to take some math, but there is like a clean line that pretty much deals with this whole board. So this is a bit tricky. This is a bit tricky how this ends up going. So basically what the plan ends up being is we're going to push in Lucian, force out any defend triggers, and then we have a Relentless Pursuit in our hand, which we can use to bring over the Kaisa. Right. So that gives us 10 might total there, right? After defend triggers have been spent. There's pretty little reason for him to go for a Draven use here. It's basically we're trying to trick him. We're either I believe we also had a punch first. No, we had a challenge as well to help us get over if need be. If he didn't fall for the bait, we had a challenge that we could use to force our way through here. Probably giving up the Kaisa in the process. But this was the ideal scenario, where he uses the Overzealous Fan to push back the Lucian, and then uses Reaver's Row to push back the Draven, allowing us to just cleanly, in the same showdown, use Relentless Pursuit to bring Kaisa in, which will hard beat the Ferris Forerunner, and then we use the challenge in our hand to beat the Draven in base, leaving only the max. So this was pretty great. Now, I do think this is a slight misplay here. I think moving back with Relentless Pursuit was not quite the correct line. given we were going to challenge the Draven, because that leaves just the mechs on the board. He would need like stack deck plus Darius to do a real threat here, and I think overall, like slowing down his point accrual is a bit more useful to us than letting him potentially get a draw if he presents something that actually threatens us. But I don't remember the exact state of my hand here. I can't threaten punch versus the biggest issue here. But I think that's like fine. But yeah, he's going to develop another Ferris Forerunner. Very, very annoying. And does he hide it again under this battlefield? I think he does. Yeah, he hides one here. And we go, yeah, it's our turn now. And this is a really mucky board state for us to deal with. I chicken out, go over to the Reaver's Row with Kaisa. I think this is a really incorrect play. I don't quite remember what's in my hand at this stage. Okay, we do have the challenge, so we could have like gone for a trade here. I think we had first mate at this point. Like leaving that battlefield over there just completely unchallenged, letting the mech token get back to base as well is just really not great for us. It's really not an ideal position, because now he's going to continue to develop this hold on the next turn, and that is ultimately what's going to lose us this game. Yeah, we had Doran's Blade. Yeah, no, I think we really had to challenge. I think the correct line would have been Doran's Blade, put on Lucian, use challenge against the mech token that's with the Ferris Forerunner, and then swing the Kaisa into the Candlelit. If we had the first mate, because then we can... No, we only had 6 available to us, so we can't quite beat that with first mate, which is a problem and would give him another card to work with. Really not quite ideal. Oh no, it's rough. It was a rough board state. The second Ferris Forerunner was really, really rough. And unfortunately, it's about to get rougher because he just drew all 3 Ferris Forerunners despite Draven not proccing like at all this game. Just hard drew all 3. And that's what's going to ultimately spell our defeat in this game. I think if I chipped away at the board at earlier points in the game, it wouldn't have gotten quite out of control. But here comes the Forerunner, the third Forerunner. We are going to be able to clean up this board, but it's not pretty. Yeah, we're going to go... Yeah, we have the challenge in hand. We get the hold. We go to 5. And we're going to put a second equip on the board. Put out the rear guard, as I recall. Again, just very, very gummy board state. Triple Forerunner's crazy. Triple Forerunner's just nuts. Yeah, just not great. We haven't seen Ruin Runner, so we've never been able to establish something that's just ignore the hiddens. That's really rough for us as well. We had to use that Relentless Pursuit where we did to clean up that board state. Yeah, so we longsword onto the rear guard, and then we're going to Doran's Blade onto the rear guard. So this puts it at 8. We're going to go in here, and we're going to challenge with our focus to take out one of the Forerunners, while our rear guard is at 8 as a result of the assaults. Yeah, then he's going to Fireflight back my rear guard, which is going to allow him to draw a card. And then I'm going to first mate. This is pretty ideal, because I was expecting to have to trade this rear guard. But with this, I was able to deal with both of them without losing the rear guard, which was nice. However, no punch first, no Ruin Runner is about to bite us. Like we're dealing with what is this? 18 might in the base. We could have played the first mate to the reverse route. I think that would have been more correct. Because that at least reinforces that, knowing that we have to deal with all this might from the mech tokens. But we sabotage here, and we see there are 2 rebukes in the hand. And 2 rebukes in the hand makes this completely unwinnable. We can take out one of them, but one of the other is still there, and there's just like no universe in which we can hold against this. If it wasn't double rebuke, if there was just one rebuke type card, we could have put Lucian up into the candlelit, and we would have had 9 on the candlelit, 6 on the other one, which means he would have only been able to get 1 conquer. Theoretically, there's a lot of things that can make that go Ari, but that's like the potential stratagem. But like triple Forerunner was just ultimately too much for us to handle here. Yeah, we really should have been chipping. Like, you really need to be chipping away at Draven's board wherever you can, because if they get these big might masses, it becomes much harder to deal with them. And we really did have the opportunity. Like, I really think I just played that turn 2 incorrectly. I think I just needed to play more aggressively with the Kaisa, force out the Overzealous a bit earlier. Because if we force out the Overzealous, we actually don't end up needing to spend the Relentless Pursuit potentially on the next turn. And that just puts us in a much better position. But it is what it is. Mistakes are made. It is what we learn from. It is what we learn from. Ultimately, Midrange Draven is still like a tricky matchup that you have to navigate very, very carefully. Yeah. So, game 2, we are going Seat. I have the read that he's using Obelisk here. He is, which is great for us, because in a game where we start with 3 runes on Seat, there's a nasty line we can do where we go turn 1, develop Lucian, turn 2, accelerate Kaisa. Kaisa goes into the non-Seat battlefield, and then Lucian goes into the Seat battlefield, and we draw 2 that turn, while double conquering on turn 2, which is pretty fantastic, anytime we get to do that. And I do believe we have the open to enable that here. But we also opened the combo gears this game. This will finally be the combo gears being shown off. Because they really allow us to change the dynamic of the mid-range Draven matchup. So we just developed Lucian on our turn 1. Our opponent has 4. They opt to develop 2 2-drops, a Treasure Hunter and a Overzealous. We're chill with that. Those will require extra resources if he wants to get rid of my my Accelerate Kaisa line here. So we go for that Accelerate Kaisa line here. We go into the Obelisk. We go up to 1, we draw a card, and then Lucian will go into Seat, draws another card, come back to base, leaving Seat open for us to conquer again on the next turn. And we're in a pretty nice position here. These 2-drops aren't very threatening to Kaisa, so we're chilling. We're chilling right now. He has at 6, so Forerunner is a possibility here. He moves Overzealous into the Seat here, if I recall correctly. Yes. Okay. Overzealous goes into Seat, which immediately tells me that there's not a Spinning Axe coming here, because Overzealous is what would have gotten over. So he Falling Stars my Lucian and my Kaisa. Kaisa's down to 1, so it will trade with this Treasure Hunter. So he gets a gold token. He develops Draven. And he's at 1 point. I haven't updated the tracker there, though I do have it updated on my notepad. But it is 2-1 right now. We have the Piercing Light here, so we're able to Piercing Light the 2-drop and the Draven. Completely clears board. Then we develop Pau di Poro. We have Rune Runner in our hand. We're in a pretty comfy enough position here. Because we're able to go, we have both combo gears, so that the plan right now is we go Rune Runner next turn, and then drop both gears on our 8 rune turn. Now this ends up being a bit risky. We don't go in with the Pouty Pro because it's just going to die to the Vryn here, and there's no reason to do that. This actually ends up being a bit risky because he has Mind Splitters this game, and he is going to fire it here. And there was the possibility that we just lost the combo. However, with Rune Runner established, there was a possibility we'd be fine anyways. We had another equip regardless. Basically, and like we would have kept the punch first. Basically, he chooses to get rid of the punch first here, which I don't think is necessarily incorrect. Punch first is extremely strong. But letting me develop this combo gear, the combo gears on the next turn, just completely changes the dynamic of the matchup, because now I get to just completely ignore whichever battlefield is weaker, and still get 2 points every turn. And since I have a point lead right now, that puts me in a really, really nice position. That just like, without him, now the one thing I am scared of now, since he didn't take the combo gears, is I'm really worried about Thermo Beam, but he can't do it right now. So I'm like, okay, let's just get some points while we can. Since he didn't put anything to the battlefields and he doesn't have enough runes up for like Firefly or anything, I'm gonna put these onto Pouty Pro, go in for 2 points, and leave my Rune Runner back in base where he can't really touch it. So that it's still a threat for later. If I get Thermo Beamed, I can potentially use this as a threat. If I can draw into more equips. We have a pretty solid point lead, but if we get Thermo Beamed here, we're in a pretty rough spot because we have no other equips at the moment. He's going to just throw Mind Splitter into the Obelisk, take out the Pouty Pro. That's completely fine. Our equips are freed up for Rune Runner to use them next turn. So he's going to draw off the seat. But if he doesn't have the Thermo Beam to disrupt the combo, then we remain in a really, really strong position here. Yeah, he develops Darius here. Not something I'm particularly worried about at this stage. And we are past the turn where we had to like spend a ton of energy to develop. So we're feeling pretty good here. He hides one with Mind Splitter, which frankly I'm not too worried about. Rune Runner can't be targeted, so switcheroos, fireflights, all that stuff just doesn't really do anything to us. However, he leaves 4 up. So my one concern here, I almost move into the Mind Splitter. My one concern here is that he could have double Spinning Axe. And if he has double Spinning Axe, the Rune Runner would actually lose the combat. No, it would draw. It would draw. It would draw the combat, and we really don't want that happening. No, we would lose. We would lose. The Spinning Axe is +3. Yeah. We would lose that combat, and we really don't want that happening here. We don't want to take that risk. So I just go into another battlefield, beat the Bryn here for free, and we're able to develop another Rune Runner in the base. Now, this Rune Runner that we have up there is like a bit of a threat for him because like we do have 1 up, so we are threatening punch first. And it is 9 might. So that is a bit scary. A bit scary for him. However, there are lines that would like hard beat this, like +2 on the Darius. If he does have that double Spinning Axe that I was worried about, it would go up to 13, which doesn't quite beat punch first. But the actual line is the second Darius, and then if we get both these activated, then these Dariuses will both be swinging in for 7 for 14 total, which exactly trades with the Rune Runner punch first. Which is not a very profitable use of punch first. So but that's fine. That's fine because we are threatening to win next turn. We are very much threatening to just win next turn. Because we have another Rune Runner, so we're just immune to like basically all of Draven's interaction. So next turn we can just throw those gears onto the backup Ruin Runner, and we will win on the spot. So he's going to develop an Overzealous here with the Mind Splitter. Again, we don't really care about that because it can't target Ruin Runner. The Dravens will move in. They'll kill it. We will kill one of the Darius. Sorry, Darius back in return. So it's very easy for us to beat over this battlefield now. He only has 2 up. So like, let's say there's a Spinning Axe in the hand. That'll put Darius up to 8, which is not enough to beat the stacked up Ruin Runner. So we just move in there and just win for free, right? Yeah, like nothing much that can be done there. There was the potential of moving up into the Mind Splitter, but that's just more risks. There's no reason to take that risk there. It's just safer to move up into the Darius and win on the spot that way. So that was a good old rousing round of combo gears. However, even if we see the combo again next game, we now have to be very aware of the Mind Splitter. It would have been hard to play around Mind Splitter in that game because he started on 4, so the Mind Splitter is always coming down turn 3. However, the Obelisk game is over now. So Mind Splitter can't come down until turn 4, and it's a lot easier to like establish both gears by then. Technically, we could have done that in the previous game, but that would have required not going for the Piercing Light line when we had nothing on board to equip the gear 2, which would have resulted us falling behind in points and potentially losing. So I do think it was correct to play that the way we did. But this game, we're able to play better around it, around the Mind Splitter. Because unlike Thermal Beam, we cannot rip Mind Splitter out. And of note, we did not see Sabotage at all that previous game. If I recall correctly. Yeah, I don't think we saw Sabotage at all that previous game. So it is Sunken versus Targons this time. He is going to lead out with a Tide Turner. We're just going to go with the classic Develop Lucian. No problem. This will beat the Tide Turner in whatever he attempts to do with it. It's going to move the Tide Turner into the Targon's Peak. The Targon's Peak does complicate matters a bit on this turn. But we do already have a Sabotage in hand, so we're going to have no problem with this. So he's going to develop the Draven here. And we're going to start setting up our combo gears to play around the Mind Splitter. So we immediately see the Mind Splitter in hand with this Sabotage, as well as Double Pharaohs and a Fighter Flight and a Spinning Axe. So we're going to get rid of the Fighter Flight so we don't have to deal with it on this turn. Which will allow us to safely develop, because we opened the combo gear again, which is why we did not mulligan at all. We go 4 for Trinity Force, snap it onto Lucian, go into Targon's Peak, and this is 6 on 2, so Fireflight is gone, can't use that, and the other option is Spinning Axe, which will not get Tide Turner up high enough, so we're able to win that combat. Go up to 1, which I'll update the scoreboard on in a moment, and go back to base. And that means that we'll be going up to 5 next turn, which will be enough for us to go for Skyfall and start scoring 2 points a turn. And he's kind of hard-pressed to score, get a double conk of his own on this turn, which means we'll be able to take a pretty decisive point lead. He's going to go for this line where he goes Draven into the battlefield, then goes Ferris Forerunner there. And like, we have the combo, so we just get to completely ignore this. We also know that at current, he does not, unless he just top decked it, he does not have Thermal Beam in the hand. So we don't have to worry about that for at least a second. And it would be a huge tempo loss for him to do that. However, with that established battlefield over there, it might end up being enough if he ends up getting there. So ideally, we want to find another Sabotage to continue to ensure that doesn't occur. So we're going into Sunken. We want to go into Sunken anyways here. And also letting him hold on the Targons means he's not able to get the Targon's Peak effect again, which is going to constrain what interaction he's going to be able to show us, which is especially important since we do not have Ruin Runner at the moment. So he's going to go for the Mind Splitter now. We're going to show him our cool hand of, yeah, we do have another Sabotage, right. Did we open that? I don't remember. So we have double Bryn here. The Bryn heres are very, very nice. Since we don't have Rune Runner at the moment, Bryn here is another way for us to shut down interaction on push turns. We have the first mate. Like this hand is really good. There's like no matter what he rips out here, we're gonna be left with good stuff. So he's gonna rip out the punch first. We're pretty fine with that. We still have sabotage to rip out key interaction pieces. We still have first mate to beat fight or flight. So we're in a really, really nice spot here. So we will develop, go up to, we'll take our turn, go up to 2. The sunken temple is still completely free, so we can take that at our leisure, go up to 5. And we're going to get to draw a card off the sunken temple again. Now, the way I end up playing out this turn, I don't think was quite correct. So I go 2 for the Legion Rearguard, which I think was correct to develop here. But then I'm going to end up going 3 for the first mate, which is just another body here. And I think it would have been correct to go for the sabotage here, check for Thermo Beam again, make him top deck it if he has it. And I also would have made it so that I could win a bit more cleanly by taking out the line he's going to end up going for here. So he's going to go Draven into the Sunken Temple. He's going to go Spinning Axe so that he is mighty and able to draw a card off the Sunken Temple. Not super ideal, to be honest. But this does put him to 4 runes, so he is unable to threaten the Thermo Beam anymore. I know that Thermo Beam isn't coming at this stage. So that is a pretty good spot for us. And he is going to put the Overzealous Fan over there. I'm not sure why he puts it over there. Assumingly that hidden is a fight or flight. But if he stacked that up over with the Draven, barring, it basically like puts me in a position where I need multiple ways to stop him, to get back in here. Bryn here wouldn't have done it because Bryn here does not stop Overzealous Fan. But since it's just a hidden I'm dealing with, I'm just able to Bryn here, put Doran's Blade onto Lucian. I'm not able to actually get 2 points here because I'm going to have to crash with this Draven after he spends a power. But that's going to put him down to 3, which means a Thermo Beam would be his entire turn. However, we have played more into the Thermo Beam, which is not great. But we're going to get a point with the Legion Rearguard, which is going to put us to 6, which we're still on track to win on our next turn. So it doesn't really matter that we didn't get the double score on that turn, because we were able to still get the 1 point we needed to put us in range of victory. However, we do make quite a blunder here. That could have bitten us really, really bad. So I am going to end up ending this turn. Yeah, I end this turn without equipping the Trinity Force to the Legion Rearguard. And what that means is that if he just leaves this Legion Rearguard, I'll go to 7, and to win, I will need to actually go in on the other battlefield with the Overzealous Fan and all that nonsense over there. So that is a very rough spot. He's going to immediately stack deck, which means I know Thermo Beam isn't coming. Very nice, very good to see. Yeah. Draven hasn't gotten to draw off the Legend effect basically at all in games 2 or 3. So like it really needed the Thermo Beam side and really needed to be like pretty close to the top of the deck for him to actually find it. But he's going to that was a double stack. Yeah, that was a double stack deck. And yeah. So we're in a very nice position. However, if this Legion Rearguard gets left, we could end up losing. Because our punch first is gone. It could be a bit rough to get over this battlefield. With the Overzealous Fan there, especially because we spent the first mate in a way that was really unnecessary, and he ends up fireflying back the Forerunner to throw that into the Sunken Temple, and that just means we get a free win here. because now we just get to, okay, I just slam my Trinity Force and Skyfall onto whatever, because either of them will beat the Ferris Forerunner. He is tapped out. We don't have to worry about anything. We just easily score here and get our final 2 points. As I said, not quite the cleanest. This could have been much cleaner, and I hope to get some more Draven versus Midrange Draven footage in the future, as well as some versus Miracle Draven footage in the future. Because I'm not sure this match is quite as useful for learning the matchup as it could have been. But all the same, I hope you guys enjoyed. And with that said, this is Hunter Surge signing off.